Live from tape, pre-recorded at our studios in Austin, Texas and Portland, Oregon, it's Syndicated with Lesley and Ben. Hey everyone, I'm the Ben of that.
And I'm the Lesley. This is a twice-monthly podcast about television, genre, and storytelling, in which we watch an episode of a show and explore the history of television, one episode at a time.
If you're just now tuning in, we're talking about Superstore, which debuted on NBC in 2015 and has ran for 6 seasons, ending this very year in 2021. Right off the bat, normally we try to interject if we see something interesting as we talk about our introductions to the show. I think it's important to talk about how this show is surviving right now, which is that they filmed an entire season that takes place during the pandemic in masks.
Yeah, I have not seen the current season, but they have been releasing episodes through the pandemic. I want to say that season 6 started last October of 2020.
I think that's the case, yeah.
Yeah, so they have just been trucking along and filming throughout the pandemic.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
No kidding. I think... to say content would probably be wrong, but I think a lot of studios have been content to just kind of skip a year of their television shows. I think famously the show that's coping with the pandemic the worst is The Bachelor.
Right. Because
they've had like weird kiss scenes in which neither person is clearly in frame and they're like kissing dummies or whatever.
Are you serious?
Oh, dead serious. There's some footage from that show. Bachelor and Bachelorette, whichever one is happening right now.
It's The Bachelor, I want to say.
Sure, yeah, probably. I maybe agree with you. Where it's very clear that they're just kissing like a dummy in a wig, but it's shot from the back. So, we know The Bachelor and The Bachelorette are like manufactured, right?
Sure.
But that's like the most nakedly it's manufactured, right?
Yeah, that's next level right there. That's commitment to the bit.
We need a big, dramatic, romantic kiss. So if anyone wants to go down to Party City real quick, we can... yes, but I'm looking at the marketing for Season 6, and it's them all kind of doing the, crossed arms, back-to-back poses or whatever. All wearing,
right, the easily photoshopped together, spliced these people. Yeah.
Yes. Possibly taken from earlier photo shoots. Years prior or whatever.
Sure.
They've all got the kind of blue tinted medical masks, and the slogan says "more essential than ever."
So, speaking of essential, actually, that appears to be the title of the first episode of the current season of Superstore. So clearly, they are addressing this whole thing. I have not watched it yet, but yeah.
Yeah, clearly they're leaning into it, and I'm sure there's something to say there about. I guess if any story is going to take place as this is ongoing, the life of a real retail worker, with masks and hand sanitizer is unfortunately unchanged.
Yeah.
As they are still expected to put everything on the line for flat screens, which is what we'll be discussing later today. Leslie, I don't know if you remember this, but about 2 or so weeks ago, which I guess will also tell you, the listener, when this was recorded, I put out a thread about I'm curious to see what stories will pretend the pandemic didn't happen. Not like in a conspiratorial, there is no COVID way, but
right.
Because this is such a societally earth-changing event, whether media that is made right now or media that comes out years from now will factor the quarantine and COVID and the pandemic into people's stories. Like in month 3, like last June or whatever, you could kind of, now that this is stuck around, it's past the point in which it can be ignored, you know what I mean? So I'm curious, will stories in the future reference, this time period, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
will COVID be, or the quarantine or pandemic be part of people's backstories, like the war in Iraq or whatever?
Right,
it is
right,
for
right.
characters now.
Or like 9/11 or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's now going on long enough that it is impossible to ignore.
Yeah, you're telling me, buddy.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just curious to see how that affects storytelling, whether quarantine will be like an essential part of like character developments in history, but also like right now where like, are new seasons of CSI gonna have masks on or not? You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. But back to the show at hand, which definitely has masks, and also the episode that we're talking about today came out about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
This show features Ugly Betty's America Ferrera as Amy, an employee at the Cloud9 Big Box Store, a national chain of all-purpose department stores, not unlike a Target or a Walmart. And Drop Dead Divas Ben Feldman as Jonah Sims, a fellow worker at the aforementioned store, who acts as Amy's nervous love interest. It's an ensemble cast, not unlike Community or Parks and Recreation, featuring the comedic talents of other store employees, notably Nico Santos as Mateo, Colton Dunn as Garrett, Lauren Ash as Dinah, and Nicole Sakura as Cheyenne. Excuse me. And Mark McGinney, former Kids in the Hall player, as manager Glenn Sturgis, a squeaky man who doesn't seem to be quite in charge of the store that he runs. Very much the kind of incompetent boss trope that started with Michael Scott.
Sure.
Not started, but probably is best personified by. Mark McKinney was previously in Slings and Arrows as the festival manager, which we covered earlier this season. Speaking of ensemble casts, and obviously we just mentioned Community and Parks and Recreation, I do actually like when shows have, like, not just, like, recurring characters, but, like, I don't know, both of the other shows that I just mentioned are, like, firmly set in the world that they're set in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And, like, whether the season is about them or not, characters like, I don't know, Community Starburns or, there's just, like, the weird students or weird citizens of Pawnee just keep popping up, whether they're featured or not.
Right.
Anyway, I just love shows that do that.
I do too. And actually, Superstore is really fun in that as an NBC property, there have been other NBC shows that have this big box fake store in them. Like, I know I was watching Good Girls, and they were at a Cloud9 doing their shopping for stuff.
That's so that funny.
Was, yeah, it was really, I was like, hang on, I know what that is. It's very fun stuff.
Is Cloud9 the store that Kristen Bell is at when she dies in Good Place?
No, I don't.
God.
No. I don't think so. Yeah, spoiler alert. Kristen Bell dies.
Spoiler alert for, I don't know, episode 3 of Good Place? I mean, they're dead right away.
Yeah, right away. So.
Yeah. Last but not least, the episode that we watched today was Black Friday, in which our gang of overworked employees at Cloud9 have to deal with the oncoming rush of customers dead set on getting slight discounts on flat-screen TVs. It's a nauseous ride as some potential food poisoning gets the entire floor staff sick, and a potential pregnancy scare gets to Amy while she's scrambling to keep up with the job.
Yeah.
Leslie, we do not have a guest on this episode, which means that this question is directed at you. Why Superstore?
Okay. I love Superstore. I feel like it is one of the most underrated comedies on NBC. I feel like it has many, many moments where it's up there with Brooklyn Nine-Nine in terms of comedic value. The jokes are incredibly smart. They're very, very funny. And they have these recurring jokes. Like they keep showing customers doing random things just as a cutaway in the store, and it's just really a fun show. In a funny show. It's one of my favorites, and as we're doing workplace comedies, I felt like it just absolutely needed to be included.
Is this the most job workplace comedy that we've done? Because
I think so.
I think everybody, all the other shows that we've covered, which again, Scrubs, Better Off Ted, The Larry Sanders Show, and Slings and Arrows, are about career people. With salaries and usually specialty or college training. or whatever, because they're performers or they're doctors or they're high level like ad executives or whatever. This is the most like 9 to 5, or I guess graveyard shift, or 3 to 10, or 39.5 hours so they don't have to legally pay you health insurance.
Right.
Like, but you know what I mean? This is the most like, well, look, there's no such thing as unskilled labor, obviously, but the most entry level, like, workplace that we've covered on the show so far.
Yeah, the most blue collar for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Which will probably remain the case unless we cover, like, I don't know, Taxi or something.
Right. Yeah. That is what differentiates this one from the other ones that we have done so far, is that it is very much just an everyman blue collar workplace.
Yeah. And actually, now that I'm thinking about that, as I think to other popular workplace comedies, a lot of them are, not a lot of them are set like at this level. The other ones that we frequently mention, stuff like Parks and Rec and 30 Rock and The Office, kind of all have, you kind of have to, work into those positions. And that's really interesting. There aren't a lot of like entry-level workplace comedies that I can think of, not off the top of my head, anyway.
Yeah, it's unique in that way for sure.
Yeah, those are usually all about people with salaried positions or like plenty of corporate or professional experience.
Right.
Interesting. That's an interesting dynamic. We'll see if we can find more to talk about later this season. It's a very funny show. I think this is the second episode I've ever watched of it. I know I watched the pilot, and I might have watched the second episode thereafter, and I thought it charming. Okay. I just don't think it was the type of comedy I wanted to watch at that moment. I kind of placed it in the, well, maybe someday category of entertainment for me. And then probably started to watch something else. But no, I found it very charming. I think there's a very clear delineation. I know we just mentioned a bunch of shows. But there is kind of a legacy of entertainment that very much went from The Office to Parks and Rec to this. The Office to Parks and Rec to Brooklyn Nine-Nine to this.
I
think there's a very, very clear line from, even though this one isn't a mockumentary, I think this very clearly kind of exists in the shadows of like those kind of shows. And by those kind of shows, I mean stuff created by Michael Schur. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Michael Schur, for those of you who do not know, is the series producer on The Office and Parks and Rec and The Good Place. And I believe he was one of the, co-created the comedy series Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And was a producer on Master of None, but that doesn't quite fit in the same category of comedies that we're talking about.
Right.
But the big ensemble cast, kind of quirky humor. Every single one of those shows has a Jim and Pam or a Ben and a Lesley.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. How about that?
Wait, that is Adam Scott's name in that show, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I didn't realize.
Oh, I didn't either until you just said this just now. How about that?
Yeah, no, it didn't even occur to me. It's like, wait, that's the name of our show. Shit.
Like, hold on. That's us.
But like, you know what I mean? Like those shows have a type.
Right.
Of huge casts, that kind of dynamic. There's always like a that kind of couple in the middle of it. This very much feels of that energy, even though I don't believe Michael Schur is in any way connected to it. Probably because he was busy making the critically acclaimed Good Place at the time.
Yes.
Although that would not stop him, considering The Office and Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Parks and Rec all overlapped in terms of production.
Yeah.
He's also responsible to a degree for Abby's and Sunnyside.
Oh, yeah. He did do Abby's. Abby's was canceled really early. I feel like I've talked about Abby's a lot. Because I really did enjoy that show.
So let's see. What is there to talk about this show? I think it... Oh, you know what? I think it's got a weird kind of take on the work that they do in this show.
Okay.
Because, look, especially because this is the Black Friday episode, which is one of the most stressful days for retail workers imaginable. I mean, I can't even... Well, I guess that entire season, really, of Black Friday till Christmas Day. And then probably second to that is, I don't know, Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, probably.
When all the big summer sales really kick off.
Yeah.
But it's so weird because, you know, it shows everyone at the very beginning of this episode miserable as all hell, you know, exhausted because they're showing up at 3 a.m. for the Black Friday sale, you know, and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah.
Everyone's very clearly having a bad time. You know, it's very stressful. They're all overworked. They're understaffed, as these kind of stores tend to be, obviously, because management sacrifices overhead like that.
Yeah.
All that jazz. Anyway, customers are fighting each other in the aisles. And then it's weirdly a very triumphant moment when, in the midst of everyone being sick, they decide to band together and finish their shift anyway. And I think that seems like a very weird, like, because the beginning of this is like, well, anyway, this sucks. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
But then it's a triumphant moment when they decide to sacrifice their health to.
Yeah.
You see what I'm getting at?
I do, and I think that a large thing that they were basically trying to depict with that scene at the end where they all band together is a sense that you've gotten, because this is like midway through season 2 at this point. Yeah, and so you have grown to understand how these characters interact with each other and how they relate to each other, and how, even though it seems as though they might have, you know, at best acquaintance, at worst adversarial relationships with one another as team members, that they are somewhat of a, and I hate to say it this way because I don't mean it that way, but like a quote unquote family, you know, and that they care about each other as people.
Right.
And so I think that was really what the purpose was behind everybody rallying once Garrett had done so. Also, they had to finish up the episode somehow, and you know, at the end, the Dina and Garrett kiss happens, and you know, so they needed to still be in the store for that. So
that's true. Well, I don't know. I a lot of my episode television, a lot of the scripts that I write for episodic television, none of which have been published, obviously, do end with me giving up. So I do relate to that. Folks, I'm not a TV writer. I have a lot of unfinished scripts. You understand the joke. No, I totally get that. And don't worry, I understand you were concerned about the cringe aspect. Remember, it's only a red flag if management describes you as a family.
That is true. True.
You can feel you have a familial bond to other coworkers. When management says that we're a family, that's when you need to start watching your paycheck.
Yeah. Very true.
Remember, folks, your boss is not your friend.
Yeah, your boss is not your friend. This is a transactional relationship. You give them work, they give you money, end of.
Yeah, no, it's so weird that it was like, you know what, I'll do my best to sacrifice my health for Walmart.
Right.
Well, anyway, unfortunately, that's a very prescient dynamic. But it left a weird taste in my mouth. I was like, wait, I thought they all agreed they hated this and could go home.
Yeah, but I guess, you know, it's complicated. Yeah.
Look, I mean, we all work at the expense of our health and whatnot. You know, it's sure. A complicated and ultimately bad relationship we have with capitalism. But I get the motivation to feel that you have to stay.
Yeah, definitely. So why don't you tell me what your impressions were of this episode, in particular, of the show that you were aware of?
Aware of, right, because I did. I mean, certainly it's not like I haven't been aware of its cultural presence. You know, any television show that is sufficiently popular gets used as GIFs everywhere.
Oh, sure.
I knew who Mateo is, and I know who Garrett is, because I think I've heard discussion about those characters being, you know, examples of like good representation, or at least maybe not even good representation, just like of diversified representation in comparison to all shows that came before it or whatever.
Yeah.
Although I've certainly heard criticisms of both of those. I don't believe Colton Dunn is himself disabled, so
he is not.
Yeah.
He is not.
I know that as a criticism I've seen levied at that show. But
Yeah.
all I'm saying is that I heard of it as a cultural presence in the same way that, you can't be on the internet today and not know about The Good Place at all.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I found it charming. I found it charming, aside from the weird kind of conflicting messages, the weird kind of weird relationship to corporatism in there. I found it for the most part what I imagine is pretty accurate about like the dread of having to go through with this every day.
There are also storylines in later seasons about some of the workers unionizing and things like that. So, so it does definitely address things like that and does not just give you this rosy, warm picture of what it's like to work in a big box store. There are real conflicts involved, which actually, now that I mention it, makes me really curious to see how they do address COVID and address being considered essential workers. And I should watch that season, really. But they address unionizing. They address. I don't know if you know about this or not, but there is an overarching multiple season subplot because Mateo is undocumented. And
this is the other thing I'd heard.
Is he's undocumented, and there's a storyline, an entire plot surrounding that finds some good resolution, and gives, in my opinion, very sensitive commentary on what that whole situation would be like. So it's a good show.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the things I had heard about this show, is that it was one of the more kind of progressive takes, so to speak. Yeah, but it seemed like a pretty stark and accurate portrayal of the complications of working in a place like this. With being overworked, having an incompetent manager, trying to find community in a place that is kind of actively hostile to you. Community and camaraderie, I guess, both of those. Even if you may resent the people that you work with directly. I thought it was pretty funny. Got a good chuckle out of it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I think it had a little bit. There's like a modern trend in comedy writing that I don't care for, and I feel like it gets used in a lot of like animated family movies. The kind of did I do that-esque style writing, or that was the thing that happened kind of writing.
Okay. Yeah.
I think there was a little bit in there, and that kind of irked me because I really cannot stomach that type of writing. Where a joke is told and then like double attention is placed on the joke. Oh, that was the thing. That kind of stuff. I think there was a little bit of that there in that, but I found a lot of it like, I don't know, really, really charming and actually genuinely funny. I don't know if I told you this, but did I tell you what I did for Thanksgiving this last year?
I don't know.
Well, it wasn't just Thanksgiving. It was because we started it like a few days prior. But I celebrated T. Hanksgiving this year, which was in that my roommate and I watched 8 Tom Hanks movies over the course of a week.
That's amazing.
And by over the course of the week, I want to say 2 days.
Oh, wow.
Because that was a Monday, which I have off, and then Thanksgiving Day itself. We watched, we watched Castaway, Lady Killers, The Terminal.
Okay, I see why you're talking about this now. I had forgotten about that part.
Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
Joe versus the Volcano. What am I at, 5? A League of Their Own, 6. Sully, 7. Oh, God, what was 8? Road to Perdition. So it was very charming when Garrett starts listing Tom Hanks movies.
Yeah.
There's a bit in this show where he is told that he needs to start working on one of the he needs to start working on one of the cash registers because they're short-staffed on the front line, and he needs to. He was running basically the announcement microphone at what I imagine is like the returns
information center or whatever.
Information center, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I guess that's usually one thing: information and returns or whatever.
Yeah.
Customer service desk. There we go.
Sure.
He's told like, okay, well, once you finish this announcement, you need to start helping over at the cash register. And his response to that is like, oh, once I finish, well, then I'll just never finish this announcement.
Right.
And he pivots from he pivots from talking about the tablet or whatever it was that he was recommending. Tablets are on sale in aisle 6. You can get them for 50% off, or whatever that speech was.
Sure.
There are many movies that you can watch on the tablet. Mrs. Doubtfire, Forrest Gump. And he just starts listing movies, and then eventually starts giving individual plot summaries for individual Tom Hanks movies.
Oh, God. What was that really funny one that he said? He was like, Mrs. Doubtfire, and then he said that, and he described the plot of him, and I wish I could remember what it was now, but I thought it was so funny.
It was Face Off. That one movie with Nicolas Cage where he switches faces and talks about how he's gonna eat a peach for hours.
Thank you. Yes.
I'll save it for the end, but my favorite joke from this episode came from that whole spiel that he gave.
Okay.
But as someone who recently, I guess 3 months ago, watched like 8 Tom Hanks movies over the course of 2 days, it was real charming to hear about all of those. And
I'm
realize
so
how
glad.
many key ones I hadn't watched because we didn't watch Apollo 13 or Forrest Gump.
Oh, wow.
And I probably never want to watch Forrest Gump again, TBH. So
I haven't watched Forrest Gump in several years. But I remember I've seen it multiple times, and I remember enjoying it.
it's culturally complicated.
Yeah. Like I said, it's been several years. I mean, like, when I say that, I mean, it might have been like 16 years or so since the last time that I watched that movie, so...
That is... Look, we're all getting older, but that is a problem I've run into a little bit where we've been watching... Look, me and my roommates have been watching a lot of movies over quarantine because there's not a ton else to do. And that has come up where I've been like, oh, we should watch this. I haven't seen this in, like, I don't know, since I was in high school, like 10 years.
Oh, no.
And then I just kind of stare at the ceiling for a second.
Yeah.
Go ahead, put it on.
Yeah.
As I come to grips with the fact that I'm approaching my 10-year high school reunion.
Yeah, mine is my 20-year high school reunion is this year. Is in 2021. I graduated in 2001.
Because we are exactly 10 years apart.
Yeah, and I'm not going to have to go to that either because we're in a pandemic.
Yeah, but no, I don't know. That's about all I thought about it. Is that had a weird relationship with the environment that it took place in. But I mean, I guess that's where comedy comes from. Comedy is about conflict. Well, comedy is about, I guess, reversal of expectations, but it also stems from conflict.
Yeah.
Conflict of ideas, or conflict of location, or conflict of the self, whatever. I guess that's all storytelling, but now I'm just being broad. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that's an interesting medium to tell comedic stories through, because as we were noting earlier in this episode, a lot of workplace comedies are about professionals. Professionals as corporate America defines professionals.
Right.
Obviously, everyone who works a job is a professional, but professional very specifically means like a realtor or an office worker or an ad exec.
Yeah.
Man, I really can't think of any other big examples that come off the top of my head.
I can't either. I'm definitely going to have to look this up.
Or if somebody does work a blue collar job like that, that's like the job of the dad in a living room comedy.
Right. Yeah. Like Al Bundy or whatever, he's a shoe salesman and like that kind of thing. Yeah, it's never the focus of a show.
Yeah. It's not about the workplace. It is an aspect of one of the key characters of a family room comedy. That's so interesting. See, this is what we're talking about: genre storytelling and television. We've just unlocked a weird key axis of how workplace comedies work.
I'm into it. I love that for us. I just kind of wanted to talk about this show and this episode because I do think that it's a really great launching episode for somebody who's not as familiar with the show, because I do think that it very let's see, how do I say this? I do think that it is very good at explaining who everybody is, how the show works, all of that stuff. It's just a good episode, and it's funny. So speaking of funny, why don't you go ahead and tell me what your favorite joke was?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I will say, speaking about it being a good launching point, I think maybe this was intentional, maybe this wasn't, but I think it helps with onboarding. And no, actually, I'm sure this came up in a marketing meeting at some point. Okay. I think it really is a benefit to this show that because it is a retail environment, everyone has huge-ass name tags that say their character name on them.
Yeah, except Amy's a running gag on the show is that Amy wears a name tag with a different person's name on it every episode.
Oh, that's right. Right. That's like, yeah, that's the hook of the pilot, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Because she was like Ramona or something. There's a list out there. It exists. It's on the internet. But yeah, everybody has their name on their name tag except for Amy, whose name is different every episode.
Yeah, I think that probably, contributes to, I'm sure there was a meeting about that, like, because it's a workplace comedy or because it's a sitcom, you can approach it in any order usually. There's not, there are season-long arcs, but like sitcoms are meant to be approachable in a certain way that like prestige dramas aren't.
Right.
And I'm sure that is a contributing factor, is that everyone is like clearly labeled as a character.
Right.
Helps you learn who you're dealing with quickly, in the same way that you could not if you jumped into season 4 of Game of Thrones.
Sure. Which is incidentally why I watched all 4 seasons of Game of Thrones. All 4 seasons? There were like 8 seasons, but you know what? I watched 4 of them, and then I was like, okay. That's
right. Because you heard about an anticipated moment in like season 5 or something. Correct.
It was the end of season 4, but yeah, I had to watch, and I'm a completionist, so I had to have the emotional background to fully appreciate and understand this monologue in season 4. So right. I watched all 4 seasons, and then I stopped.
I know you are a completionist. We nearly got in a fight over the fact that you tried to start a like 500 episode podcast at the beginning.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because I was like, well, no, I have to start at the beginning of this podcast, and you're like, you really don't, though, bud. Like you really don't.
You really don't. It's a talk show. You can start in the middle.
It's totally fine. Not episodic. Doesn't matter. And I'm like, but I must. Yeah. I've gotten better about that.
Leslie, you are a dear and treasured friend. That was the maddest I ever got at you.
I have since gotten a lot better about that and taking podcast episodes in the spirit in which they are intended, which is if it's not a serial story of some sort, then I will just listen to them in whatever order. So you ended up winning that one over time.
Okay. For the listener, for context, it was my brother, and me.
Yeah, I straight up thought I had to start at the beginning of that for some stupid ass reason, and I didn't. Not only did I not have to, yeah, I should not have. Nobody should.
The beginning of that show, at both the McElroys' admittance and also from a fan perspective, is that like, the first 50 or so episodes like weren't great. They were still figuring it out, and they were kind of like assholes back in the day.
Yeah.
Because it's because they've been doing it for 10 years, or whatever. So Lesley started in like 2019, and we like a couple of us were like on our hands and knees, like, no, you can just start at like 400.
And I'm like, no, I have to start at episode 1. That's not how it works. It's not how any of this works.
I mean, gotta truly be like, well, Super Bowl 52 is coming up. I better start with Super Bowl 1.
Yeah. Gotta see what happened previously on the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
The 97th Academy Awards. Unfortunately, I must forget it. No.
Okay, all right.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm just razzing you.
What's your favorite joke?
My favorite joke from the entire episode was as Garrett is continually vamping on the microphone, just said, "Anybody seen Sully? I didn't."
Yeah, that one was really, really good. This episode had a lot of really funny moments that had me laughing out loud. A lot of Garrett's work on the announcements was definitely up there for me. I do think, though, that I am so glad. So at the end of this episode, some tension that has been building between two characters, Dina and Garrett, finally comes to something when Dina kisses Garrett at the end of the episode. And yeah, there was some tension that it had been for a few episodes prior. It was like, what's going on there? And so, but I love that because they all had food poisoning or whatever kind of stomach bug, that after Dina kissed Garrett, Garrett said, "I kind of wish I hadn't spent the whole day puking." And then Dina said, "Yeah, me too. Find every piece of gum in the store and meet me in the photo lab," which is historically where people go to hook up in Cloud9.
Yeah, I gathered. Well, it's dark and needs to remain locked for significant periods of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gathered that based on conversations happening on the phone with America Ferrera's character.
Yes, with Amy when she suspected she might be pregnant, found out that she wasn't, realized that something bad was going on with her love life because she just wasn't happy with her husband. Yeah. So that's kind of the beginning of it, because she's married at the beginning of the series.
Right. I was wondering about that because as I was writing the introduction for the show, you were telling me, like, Jonah acts as... right? Jonah, that's the character's name? Yeah, Jonah Sims. Acts as a bit of a love interest. And I kind of figured, like, well, she already seems to be in a relationship. Surely that deteriorates in some way.
It does. And it actually does not have anything to do with Jonah either. If I remember correctly, that kind of happens sort of at the same time. But like in this episode, Amy just straight up tells her husband that she's not happy. And so, it is what it is. But yeah. So what were you going to say?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I feel like both of those kind of key elements of her character arc in this episode. Again, I say this without having seen any of the rest of the show except for the pilot.
Sure.
I don't know. Those both feel, very realistic to me. The idea of like, hey, the relationship you're in currently isn't going to be your last necessarily, and also her reaction to her possible pregnancy. That a decent chunk about the latter half of this episode is her coming to terms with like, well, I was relieved to find out I wasn't pregnant in the moment. But also, I started having, as she feels that relief, she feels the more complicated feelings of, but maybe that's something I could be wanting?
Which, by the way, was just such a great conversation for her to have with Jonah in the bathroom stalls. After which point, Jonah's like, so are you going to finish? And she's like, no, I'm waiting on you to finish. And it's like, that's real. That's real.
Not to... Look, I hope work from home doesn't last forever, but if I never have to shit in one of those stalls with one of those terrible toilet paper rollers ever again, society will be better for it.
I don't know, man. I mean, like, I haven't had to hold in a fart for like a year, so I have no idea how I'm supposed to go back into an office after this.
Those bathrooms specifically are just so uncomfortable.
We got really lucky because our office actually has the bathrooms that are like rooms. Like you open a door and it's an entire room just for you. You can fucking get naked and take a shit if you want to. No one will ever know. It's amazing.
So yeah, I think that was a sensitive portrayal of pregnancy. I'm sorry, I don't know how to come back from that. No, but I think that, that was nice. It wasn't just like, it wasn't just a polar reaction to that. It wasn't just like, I'm relieved, I'm young, I don't need that. Or the opposite, I guess, which is, I need to settle down and think about family and all that. That it was a weird kind of complicated middle ground for her, and she's very clearly being like, oh, well, we'll have to come, the show is saying we'll have to come back to this.
Yeah. Well, she already has a daughter too.
I didn't realize. Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
right,
she
right,
does.
Right.
But her kid is like a teenager because she had her kid when she was really young, and so that's how she realized, like, or thought that that's what that was, because she has experienced it once before. So yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a really nice kind of character touch point.
I agree.
Yeah, I liked that. Good show. I really like this cast. I really like these characters. I feel I don't know a ton about Jonah, whether I like him or not, because he's not really the focus of this episode to a degree. And kind of existed as a kind of a, I don't want to just say annoying, but like the point was that he was a bit of an irritant in this episode.
Yeah, I feel like Jonah is he's very optimistic. And he's also very nerdy. Like, there have been multiple Halloween episodes in which they all dress up in Halloween costumes, and his are always very obtuse and political in nature and stuff like that. And so, he's just one of those kind of personalities.
A Ben Wyatt motherfucker, huh?
A bit, yeah.
Which unfortunately means he's also a Ben Hamlin motherfucker, huh?
Yeah. He's pretty great, though. I like Jonah a lot.
Folks, whether or not I'll get this out of the way now, whether or not we ever cover Parks and Recreation on this series of workplace comedies, the amount of people who have told me that I remind them or that Ben Wyatt reminds them of me, we're approaching 24. I know.
Ah, yes.
I know that I'm that character. Trust me. I could be no better exemplified by me holding up the Infinity Brick logo and going, "Can a depressed person make this?"
Yeah, yeah.
So I know. Save your Twitter submissions. Yeah, I think that's about all I have to say on Superstore, unless you've got more that you want to add.
No, that's about all I've got.
All right, folks. That concludes our discussion of Superstore. Let us know what you think about this show. If you have a favorite episode, if you have a favorite character, we would love to hear about that. You can let us know directly at InfinityBreak23 on Twitter using the hashtag SWLAB. That's syndicated with Lesley and Ben, who we've incidentally realized are the name of the two main characters of Parks and Recreation. Whoopsie doodle doo.
So cute. Aww.
3 years after we started of Horses and Men, we finally caught on to that.
Fucking awesome.
But yeah, you can let us know there. You can also let me know at Ben C. Hamlin, that is BenChamlin, over on Twitter.com. Lesley, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter at Vanetti, Vanetti. That is where I am most prominently, and you can find me there if you want to talk. You want to hang out. Talk to me about Superstore.
You can check out all of our other work at InfinityBreak.net, where we're telling stories our own way. We have plenty of podcasts there, including tabletop performances and media criticism shows. If you like this kind of discussion, you can always check out Sneeple the Movies, our sibling podcast, which talks about film in the same way that we talk about television. Let's see. We have a Patreon at patreon.com/InfinityBreak, where you can support this show and all of our other work for as little as $1 a month. If you like the show that we're listening to, you are more than encouraged to leave a 5-star review on whatever listening platform you choose to listen to us on. You can also tell your friends. Once again, if you want us to notice, you can use the hashtag SWLAB, SWLab, I guess, just like Mr. Peanut Butter.
Aww.
Yeah, I think that about concludes it for this week. Next week, Lesley, what show are we talking about next week?
Oh, next time we're going to be talking about Party Down, which is, just as we said, there really aren't any blue-collar workplace comedies. We're like, except for that other one that we're also going to be discussing. So
speaking of Ben Wyatt, or rather Adam Scott, yeah, we're going to be talking about the Star series Party Down.
Yeah.
Which is about a group of Los Angeles, Hollywood caterers.
So look forward to that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. Once again, I've been the Ben of that.
And I have been the Lesley.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
The show you've just been listening to was Syndicated with Lesley and Ben, featuring Lesley Yates and Ben Hamlin. The show is produced and edited by Ben Hamlin, with a theme song by Mandra Sigma and a logo by Terra Bosart. You can check out all of our other work at InfinityBreak.net.